Welcome back to r/LandlordsFromHell, where we read stories about the worst landlords imaginable, and maybe after hearing these stories you feel a little better about your own landlord. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our awesome community, and without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled Revenge on an Insane Landlord. This has a bit of a backstory, so please bear with me. Back in 2012, my friend and I rented this old rundown house. It was $400 a week / $1,600 a month, which was a lot for the area then, and especially a lot for that house. The sole reason we rented it was because it had a great yard for our animals and pets were allowed, which was hard to find. We signed a 12-month lease, unwittingly signing us up to 12 months of hell. Our dear slumlord owned about 20 properties in the area, apparently all were of similar disrepair. A couple of examples of the crap he pulled: he would turn up unannounced, very illegal here, must give 7 days written notice. When only one of our cars were in the drive, he would knock on the door, we would refuse to let him in, so he would physically try to barge in. We would be using all our body weight on the other side of the door to try to keep him out. We always told him he needs to go through the real estate who managed the property. This is one of so many examples of how crap this landlord was, but I think you will come to see that through this story. 27th January 2013, the day after Australia Day, a public holiday where you hang out with mates, drink and listen to JJJ's Hottest 100, I had stayed in town at the party venue house that night. It was 12 midday when I arrived home. I remember looking at my car clock as I pulled into the driveway. I went upstairs and said hey to my flatmate's boyfriend and then went and had a shower. Came out, glanced at my watch, and it was 12 p.m. The BF had the coffee table pulled right up to the TV and it had all the weather warnings of twisters, flooding, basically Armageddon. I looked out the window and the water had gone from just raining and draining away to halfway up my car tire. I grabbed my dog and GTFO'd off Dodge. I did not take clothes or dog food or anything. Evacuations were done by emergency services when the water was waist height, but I was way gone by then. It ended up flooding the entire first story of the house, plus we had a heap of huge old trees that had crashed down on the roof, so we had every pot and bowl out to catch the drips. We were allowed back a few days later. The street looked like a war zone. The smell was just horrendous. Most of our possessions were now out in the bay. We and some lovely friends spent days cleaning that disgusting mud and trying to save what we could of our possessions. The real estate said they wanted to come and inspect the damage and organize help to clean. The real estate woman, Witch, turned up with Slumlord, who pointed out there was much cleaning left to be done, but decided against helping cleaning his own asset. Days later, the idiots decided to breach us for having dogs, despite us showing written permission obtained from the real estate person in the position prior to Witch. I also shattered my wrist cleaning that crap hole. We moved out, the lease was almost up anyway, and the place was unlivable. We paid the remaining time left of rent on the lease. Also, when we moved in, the curtains were filthy, but were so old that they looked like they would shred in the washing machine. I made curtains for the entire house and hung them. We decided to leave them when we left as it was an improvement and we didn't need them in our new homes. Witch then called to say that there was a dog hair on one curtain and I asked if she had removed it. She said no. She advised she would also claim for re-cleaning if the hair was not removed. I advised her she had two options. Option number one, if she wanted me to drive 40 kilometers, 25 miles there from my new house to remove a single dog hair, I would also be removing all of the curtains and putting up the crappy ones back. Option number two was to grow up and remove it herself. They decided to take us to court over the security bond of $1,600. Court allocated a time in the middle of the day, 4 months after moving out. We submitted an adjournment request to the court and wished to have it either at the start or end of the day to mitigate time off work we would both need to take. It went ahead anyway. I requested an audio copy of the hearing afterwards. The judge asked Witch if she had seen us or knew if we were coming. She said she hadn't heard from us. The lying Karen. Then the judge read the facts and saw Witch and Slumlord were suing us for a natural disaster event. All they ended up getting was $60 for a fly screen that was on the entry report, but we were not there to argue. It cost them $40 to file. I called her and told her she better spend her $20 wisely, since she spent 4 months trying to get it. That was not enough satisfaction, so here comes the revenge. I noticed one day when I went past on my way to a doctor's appointment that the house was for rent again. I thought it wouldn't be right for the slumlord to rent that crap hole out in the dangerous condition it was in. I placed a call to the council, who came and inspected the property. The house was then declared uninhabitable and 1 step away from being condemned. In order to rent it out again, Slumlord was ordered to re-stump the whole house, erect new stairs front and back, and erect a new back deck and rewire the entire house. The next time I went past for my next doctor's appointment, I noticed it was up for rent again without the repairs being done, so I thought I had better do the citizenly thing and report it. I was told he was fined over $10,000. The next one is titled, Greedy Landlord Went One Step Too Far. Background: college student living in a college city. I lived in the dorms the first year and then in an apartment in the next years. In our college town/city, you had to pay a finder's fee to the current tenant to move in. This was essentially paying them their deposit when you moved in, as there was not any formal rental contract. There were literally flyers up listing apartments with rent and the finder's fee on campus. So this was standard practice. Anyway, a buddy and I moved into one apartment middle of our second year in a triplex where 2 of the 3 roommates had moved. All 3 in one of the apartments. The third guy had been living there for a number of years. He had done undergrad and grad school there and was the contact point for the landlord. We paid him and he paid the full rent. Note that this was not a sublet, just that we paid in total in one check, which is important. So our third roommate moves, graduates, and hands over the utilities, landlord info, etc. to me to handle before the start of summer. He had gone through a few landlords over this time and has not had a new lease/contract for years. So I take over and pay the bills during the summer. I became the POC, utilities in my name, important later for legal standing, and I was paying the rent, also important. Note, you were stuck paying summer rent to keep a good apartment close to campus, so we paid for the apartment for the summer. This is now the start of the chess match, so fall hits and school starts, we get a call for the landlord. He says he didn't know anything about us and wanted us out. If we pay more rent, we can stay. So our rent goes up from $750 to $900 with 10 days verbal notice. So we suck it up, buttercup, since we cannot move now, too late, and we paid all summer just to have the place. And the extra was not that bad. Keep in mind, this was when minimum was $3.25 per hour, so $150 is still a hit for 3 poor college students. And yes, this is from a while ago. So then as the semester gets to an end, the landlord then decides he wants to raise the rent to like $1,500 or $2,000 or he will evict us. He gives us 30-day notice to get out over the Christmas break if we will not pay. None of us could cover that amount. 2 to 3 times where we started, we were all on financial aid. Well, after talking to some people, we find out we should look into the rent control laws. Well, guess who has not properly registered or followed any rent control laws? Yep, this landlord. So we spent $500 on a lawyer and ended up going to rent control court. Guess what the rent control board hates? Yep, greedy landlords that clearly break all the laws. Coming out of this hearing, we win big. Due to the rent check/utility billing, we are found to be tenants even though we don't have a written contract, which was our biggest worry on our claim. Landlord is punished for not being registered or in compliance for years, well, really at all, so our rent is reduced to the original rent control amount. And it is retroactive, so our rent becomes $300 from the day we moved in. Oh, and we cannot be evicted just because the landlord feels like it. So, doing the math, he owed us $6,000 in overcharges for the past year and would only collect 30% of the current rate going forward. And of course, he also had a bunch of fines to pay the board. I don't remember, but I think it was more than what he owed us. So our new rent of $300 gets paid into an escrow account. It will get released once he pays the fines and us our $6K. Well, like 6 months go by and I don't think he paid the fines. He didn't pay us and he is not collecting rent. Finger still on the king, but he is not done yet. Obviously renting any of the other units will be a problem for him rent-wise, so he then decides to play by the rules and serve an eviction notice for us based on one of the permissible rules. He is moving into the unit and taking it off the market. We know this is total BS, but it is in the rules. We can call him on it, but then we will start spending money on a lawyer battle he can outlast us on. He has money and is losing money every day we are there, so we propose a compromise. And now the king falls. We settle out of court. He agrees to a 1-year lease with us at $300 per month. We will move out in a year, end of school / graduation for all 3 of us. He also signs over the escrow account to us and waives all owed rent to date. In the end, we saved $16,000. It was glorious and we got 100% of our deposit, finder's fee, as part of our settlement agreement, and we stayed until graduation. Oh, and he didn't rent out the other unit during this time, so he was out an additional 10 to 15K. Keep in mind, this was an investment property, so I assume the property value dropped for the reduced income. Edit just looked up property history on Zillow, and 3 years after this occurred, the triplex sold for $300K. So the rent collected from the units would have covered a mortgage, so he just wanted to print money. And guys, if you ever had to deal with an awful landlord, please feel free to share your stories either in the comments or on r/ripe stories on Reddit. In addition, it would make me really happy if you could like the video and post some star emojis in the comments if you want to support my channel. Thank you so much in advance, your help is very much appreciated. And the next one is a little bonus story from user Stacy Rose is me on r/ripe stories, and it is titled "Slapped for saying I don't work here, I'm sorry." I had a strange encounter that actually got me so angry I cannot think straight. I was out of town visiting my cousin and both her and I decided to go to one of the local shops there. I've never been to this shop nor did I know their dress code, but what I can tell you is that the employees wear blue shirts and black pants. And yes, by the way guys, this is an r/I don't work here lady story. I was wearing a blue graphics t-shirt with Pikachu on it and I was wearing black shorts. I didn't think much of this, nor did my cousin, because anyone, at least we thought anyone, could tell that I wasn't wearing the store's uniform. As we were weaving through the aisles, shopping and talking, we started to get followed by this man. We both did not notice him at first, but eventually he made himself known to us. We had just turned down another aisle when this man came right up to us and started screaming in my face. He was loud and kept swearing and I was shocked and confused. My cousin tried to cut him off, but he would just not shut up. Eventually, he stopped yelling and said, "Well?" And I looked at him and said, "I don't work here, I'm sorry." And that is when it happened. He screamed, "Liar!" and slapped me. His slap was so hard that I was knocked off my feet and stunned. I sat on the floor holding my face and I was crying. It hurt like hell. My cousin flipped out on this man and they were both screaming at each other. Well, we didn't notice a lady coming running up until she grabbed the man by the back of his shirt and yanked him backwards. I heard her say, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why did you slap this girl?" She pointed down at me and then continued on with her rant to the man. In the commotion, the manager ended up showing up too and helped me up on my feet. He told me it was caught on their cameras and to not worry, that the police were on their way. I just stood there holding my face and crying. I was so angry and so scared. My cousin had wrapped her arms around me, hugging me, telling me it was gonna be okay over and over again. The lady was still yelling at the man. Throughout the yelling I gathered that she was the man's wife and she saw what he did to me, and when she saw him slap me, something inside her snapped. She was screaming something about divorce and something about him being mental. I couldn't catch it all. But I did hear him say, "She lied about not working here." And the wife said, "She did not lie. She doesn't work here. Look at her. She's not wearing a uniform." And continued screaming at him while the manager was trying to calm her down. Eventually the police showed up along with EMTs. I got taken away by the EMTs to tend to me even though I kept telling them I was okay. One of the EMTs said they still need to check me over because they were told that I fell after I was slapped, which was true. I did fall, but the fall is not something that I really remembered. I just remembered the feeling of getting slapped by a big man who was taller than me and scary looking. The police did come to talk to me, asking me if I wanted to press charges. I told them that I did and asked them what the heck was that man's problem. They said that according to the man, I was ignoring him when he tried to get my attention. I told them I don't remember him ever trying to get my attention because I was busy shopping and talking to my cousin. While sitting in the parking lot in the ambulance, the lady came to me and apologized for her soon-to-be ex-husband's actions and kept asking me if I was okay. I told her I was okay, I was just shocked and confused. She then looked over at where the police were putting her husband in the back of their vehicle and said, "Well, he messed up this time. I'm divorcing his ass and taking the house and the kids." "I'm sorry he slapped you. Are you sure you will be okay?" I told her I'll be fine and thanked her for checking up on me. The manager was talking to the police, but from what my cousin told me, the manager wanted that man trespassed and said that the manager was banning that man from the store. And before you all ask, no, we didn't get our groceries free, nor did we get some kind of coupon or discount for what happened. It all happened so fast and it made me both scared and angry. I had to leave my contact info with the police and with the manager in case they need to talk to me more about what happened. I also gave the lady my contact info because she said she will need it when she gets in touch with her divorce lawyer. I didn't have to go to the hospital, which was good, but I did end up with a big red welt on my face that took some time to go away. I was shaking for hours after what happened and I still don't get it. What gives a person the right to lay their hands on another person? I know the man did get arrested, but I doubt he got to spend time in jail. I also know there will be a court hearing in the future, I just haven't heard when it will be. The police did call me to get some more info from me about everything and said they will keep in touch. My cousin told her husband about what happened to me and he wanted to go find this man and hunt him down. I just don't get it. When will people learn? And guys, unfortunately, we have already reached the end of the video. However, this is not the end of ripe content for you. I would highly suggest to check out my endless binge watch playlist, which will hopefully soon show up on the left corner of the screen, which will provide you with hundreds, if not thousands of hours of ripe content. If you still haven't gotten enough, then please also check out my Patreon at patreon.com/ripeyoutube for more than 50 exclusive Reddit videos that you will only find on there. Furthermore, if you want to share your own story with our community, then please head on over to r/ripestories on Reddit, where you can share your own stories and there is a good chance that I might read it in a video. Thank you so much for your daily support and I hope to see you again tomorrow.